there, guys. It's Mia here. I am so excited. I am so excited about this live today. I'm going to teach very simply how to operate in your gifts. Now, this is going to be an incredible live, and I can tell you that this is a keeper. You're going to want to bookmark this one. You're going to want to share it with your friends. You're going to want to watch it again. My only goal is to support those of you who are gifted, talented, sharp, smart, and incredible with owning all of who you are without shrinking. I promise you, I'm going to bring my A game tonight. Now, I want to disclaim, and there's some lives that I do disclaim that if your feelings get hurt easily, this is not going to be the live for you. If you are not ready to show up and be 100% amazing, owning your gifts and your talents, if you feel that playing small serves the world, this is not going to be the live for you tonight. I promise you. I'm Mia Redrick, business and life consultant. I got started in my company 20 years ago, 2 decades ago, and I simply made a decision. I decided I wanted to go to work with myself. I wanted to figure out how to renegotiate the way that I earned. And I know that a lot of the women that follow me, you are thinking the exact same thing, but I want you to do more than think about it. I want you to take that next step and act on what you are thinking. Hey, Robyn, you're beautiful. I appreciate you. Tonight's live is how to own the gifts and the calling that are on your life, how to operate within your giftedness, how not to shrink, how to stand tall in your gifts. And I know that you've likely been told over the years, because if you're smart and you're sharp and you're that person, you've always known the answer, you've seen yourself rise to above, all kinds of things in the workplace. Like you've every time you get a challenge, you overcome it. Every time you have an opportunity, you're the master implementer. You're the person that makes it work. I'm talking to you. Okay. I want you to be able to own that tonight. And I've got just 7 simple points that I'm going to share with you tonight. My only goal is to support those of you with that gift and dusting it off, polishing it, right? And so that you can stand in it 100% is so important. The world needs what you have. Here's my story. When I got started my business 20 years ago, I had a desire to renegotiate the way that I earned and worked. I wasn't sure how in the world was I going to take my background as a corporate trainer. I worked for a Fortune 100 company, and I built curriculum for a living. And in addition to that, I had these really great systems in my life as a mom. And I started motherhood that way. And I knew that there was something that was very, very different about what I knew as a soft skill. So sometimes you can have a gift or talent that is a hard skill, something you've done professionally or something you studied in your work, through your work or through school, that's allowed you to create success. But for others, sometimes there's just a knowing, something that you know how to do because it's a competency that you have. For me, it was motherhood. And I decided I wanted to figure out how to leverage my background as a mom and support other women with building time freedom systems for themselves. Understanding that if you want to be a great mom, you cannot be a great mom to your kids if you do not know yourself. If you want to introduce your kids to all of who you are, you have to know all of who you are. And so my very first product, I created a book called Time for Mommy. It became a system. I ended up taking that book and doing several corporate partnerships with Fortune 100 and 500 brands. And from the very beginning, I realized that your gifts will make room for you. And I never decided to play small with my gifts. I decided instead to create a movement. And this movement was called Time for Mommy. I ran Time for Mommy groups all around the country, hosted in partnership with Panera Bread and Great Harvest Bread Company and Corner Bakery Cafe, just to name a few, and Marriott Corporation. And I knew in an instant that I had the ability, right, to operate and own my gifts, but I had to really own them. And that it wouldn't work if I took a big dream and a big calling and I laced it or partnered with something small in my life. And I'm talking to you directly. So for those of you who are entrepreneurs already, or who are thinking about entrepreneurship, and you've been selling this big dynamic talent of you in a small box and you can't figure out why it's not working, I know why it's not working, because you're meant to do the giant thing. I'm going to talk about that today. And I've already disclaimed that if your feelings get hurt easily, this is not going to be the live for you. But if you are ready to take that stand to make a difference in the world with your gifts and your talents, you are in the right place. And if you're ready, I want you to write, I'm ready. As a direct result of working this business, and literally like working the business, figuring out how to build the brand that I had lived over the years with my talent and my skill, I realized a couple of things. I wanted to build a business that was based on freedom. It would allow me to work from the comfort of my home or anywhere that I chose. And that was super important to me. I knew what it would be like to spend 40 years working for another company, 9 to 7 p.m. as a salaried employee. But I really wanted to figure out how I could renegotiate my hours. I did not want a cap on my income. And if that's you, I want you to write, that's me. And I just knew there was more for me in this world of work. It was unconventional. My mom and my dad had more conventional paths. My friends had more conventional paths. And everyone was taking these direct paths that said, take this track, work this number of years, wait for your turn. And I just didn't. I felt like the time was now. I'm so grateful that I decided to invest in my mindset. Because I believe that the inner work really changed what I believed was possible for myself. And the reason I want to mention this to you is because if you're afraid right now of launching your big dream, even though you're talented at work and you're amazing, but you haven't gone for it yet, it's likely because you haven't done that inner work to build self-trust. And it's super important. It's likely equally that you don't have a community of people who I call giants, who are highly actionable, who are reaching for their dreams. And it's super important because it made all the difference for me. As a result of building the business, I've been able to be the kind of mom I wanted to be. And that meant a mom that could be present, that could show up at the games that I wanted to, the plays that I wanted to show up at. I could date my husband in the middle of the day. And that was really important to me, that I controlled my time. I also wanted to build a business that would allow me to transition to work not only from the comfort of my home, or in this case, my home office. I wanted to know, how could I build a business that would allow me to work anywhere I chose around the world on my own terms, not with hype, none of that stuff, but literally to build a transitional plan for myself. And I work with women who also want to do the same. One of the biggest and most impactful things that ever happened to me to my family was my husband developed kidney disease. And that was easily maybe 13, 14 years ago. And it was a really scary time for us. And it was then that I realized the power of the model that I had created, because I had built a business that had time freedom. I was able to be present for my husband in tremendous ways. He already a tremendous success, ran a commercial laundry for over 2 decades that done multi-millions of dollars. But the one thing that money cannot do for you, if you don't have your time freedom, you can't be there for the people that you care about. And so one of the things that I teach all of my clients is not only how to build a business based on the most profitable structures, but also how to build a business that will give you back the time that you desire. And if that's something that you want, you need to lean into this. This is going to be a really great live today. I'm going to teach on operating your gifts. Equally, my husband and I would say, once my husband got his kidney transplant, he's done amazingly well. I know that he did well because we were able to hire for him a private physician so he could get amazing care. He had a private doctor that was able to oversee his care outside of standard care. And that makes all the difference. Like it literally does, right? And the reason that I take a stand for women to show up for themselves is because I realized that if I had not shown up for myself in that moment, I would have never been able to be there when my husband needed me most, when my kids needed me most. My husband and I also wanted to give our kids an amazing education, and we've done that. And we've invested over $1 million literally in elementary, middle, and high school. And we're still not done, right? We still have a high schooler. And I know that there's some mom out there that the reason you want to run an amazing business is because you want to have options on how you want to educate your kids. And I'm not going to get into it. If that's your dream, I can tell you that if you build your business properly, you can do that for your family. Or maybe it's just that you want a vacation. Or maybe you're like me, you don't want to take vacations any longer. I don't take vacations. I just live and work wherever I am, right? And I get to play that way. I don't need a week or 2 weeks because of the schedule I have and the work that I've designed, building my business around my life. I can work anywhere I choose. And I'm so stoked about working with women who want to renegotiate that. Okay, enough about me. If you're ready for this live, I want you to write, I'm ready, okay? Because you do need to be ready to hear a powerful message. You need to be ready. If you're ready, I want you to write, I'm ready. And we'll get started. And even if you're watching the replay, I want you to write, I'm ready, because you do need to be ready. I've got just 7 simple points today, but they're very, very powerful. And my goal is just to shake your shoulders and get you to operate in your gifts, stand tall in them, and never, ever shrink. And I'll tell you why. Number one, you got to know that when you want to operate in your gifts, oh, I love it. I love it. Brianna, I'm so glad you're here. Crystal, I'm glad you're here. Robyn, I'm glad you're here. That number one, you got to know that your superpower is authenticity. If we're talking about operating in your gifts, okay, we're talking about operating in your gifts. All right, we're not talking about operating in someone else's gifts. We're not talking about operating in a Googleicious gift, right? When you want to be able to own the room, own what you're doing, own your lane, okay? The reality is that you have to understand that authenticity is your superpower. It's something that I know is true. Over the years, I think about the journey and the path that I've taken to be able to create amazing results. I think about the pitches to Emmy nominated, nationally syndicated television shows and Fortune 100 brands, and building a business from scratch, literally from scratch, and being able to coach thousands of women literally around the world. And I'm like, how did I do it? I didn't know how to do it. I learned how to do it by owning my gifts and understanding that authenticity, me telling my story, me being the highest and tallest version of myself. I'm talking about me. I want you to think about you, because it can be tempting when you see people who do what you do to do your business or start your business the same way. But the truth of the matter is, the reason that you will attract the people that you're meant to attract is because you are you. It's because of your story. It's because of your background. It's because of how you've been educated over the years. And the truth of the matter is, your ideal client is looking for you. When I think about the number of women who I've worked with who either are nurses who had some connection with a dialysis clinic, or moms who had a husband who was chronically ill and they were looking to be able to package for themselves something high level, or moms who were ready to step into the next level, who related directly to my path, my background, my gifts, and my talent, specifically because I showed up 100% of myself. And I will tell you, if you want to operate in your giftedness at the highest and tallest level, your superpower is your authenticity. There is nothing more powerful, okay, nothing more magnetic, nothing more attractive, and nothing that will convert more than you being all of who you are. And I hope you guys hear my live, because it's so, so, so important to get this part. A lot of times when we start business, we look at best practices. We look at benchmarks. We look at what other people are doing to figure out what we're supposed to do. And over the years, I never built my business that way. I actually couldn't. I started as a mom coach. And as a mom coach, there weren't any examples 20 years ago of mom coaches. So because I didn't have an example, I decided that I would be the example, right? And that I would create the lane. And so if you're operating your gifts, you are meant to create the lane. People are going to follow you. They're going to want to invest with you because you are you. And any temptation or any advice that you get to change what you're doing, to not be all of who you are, is not how you can use that gift. I will tell you that, my very first stop to a business center, I was told that my idea of mom coaching would not work, that no one would ever pay me to be a mom coach, and that I should go back to corporate training because that would be something that I could monetize more easily. And I'm so grateful that I didn't listen, that I trusted that small voice inside of me. I knew that there was something that I had that I was meant to give the world. And you know that there's something you're meant to give. And you got to understand that people who don't get you, don't understand what you're meant to do. They're not meant to serve you. They're likely not your ideal client. And they're not the people that are meant to advise you, because you're just looking for the people who can see what you see. Okay, hashtag see what you see. If this makes sense, right? Hashtag see what you see. That's what you're looking for. Number 2, we're talking today about operating inside of your gifts. It's very important. I also understood that I had to accept that competition is irrelevant when you're being all of who you are. And, when I think about the number of times when I'm speaking to entrepreneurs and they talk about the fact that the market is saturated, or they talk about competition, or they think that there's no room for them because they see so many people out there doing what it is that they want to do. We're talking about operating in your gifts, right? Okay. The reality is you need to understand that if you understand step by step how to take what you're doing and package what you're doing as a high ticket offer, how many clients do you need anyway? Okay, let me just break this down. Somebody pull out their calculator. Okay, I'm going to help everybody get this straight right now. Let's say your goal this year, maybe I'll ask you guys, what's your annual revenue goal that you have? So somebody write down your revenue goal. I'll look here. Is it $100,000 in your business? $200,000, $300,000, $500,000? What is your annual revenue goal? Okay, and you just write it here. Okay, and I'll choose somebody, and I'll really support you in getting your mind right around this notion of competition, or there not being enough room for you, or people already doing what you want to do. The reality is, if you understand that packaging your knowledge step by step, systematically into a high ticket product or service, okay, on or offline, if you do that properly, then how many clients do you actually need? I'll take Brianna because she was the first here. I'm so glad that you're here, Brianna. I will show your name right there. There she is, $375,000. Love it. Okay, so I'm going to pull out my calculator. So let's say, Brianna, tell me right now, what are you thinking about doing? Are you thinking about being a coach or consultant, a trainer, a course creator? Just write it right here. What is it that you're thinking of doing? And then also, if you would like to write in general, just something simple, your background, right? Like, what's your background, who you want to serve in that way. And I'm going to help everybody get clear about this right now, because the reality is, I'm going to prove to you through Brianna's example and her vulnerability that it does not matter, okay, what anyone else is doing, okay? $375,000 is absolutely doable. Let's say she says she wants to do coaching, training, she wants to write books, she wants to create courses, all right? So let's say that Brianna is a coach, and we'll start with some small package as a coach. Let's say Brianna has the ability to create results for her audience. We're going to make some assumptions, okay? And she decides she's just going to charge $12,000 a year to coach individuals, okay? So now, how many clients does Brianna need at $12,000? How many clients does Brianna need to hit $375,000? Anybody want to play? All right, I'll give you guys a chance to write it. I already have the number here. Okay, and I'm going to prove it to you. All right, the number is, take 12,000 divided by 375,000. Okay, so that everybody's clear about this, and then you'll understand why competition is irrelevant. Okay, it's 31. So Brianna only needs 31 clients in 1 year, okay, in order for Brianna to hit $375,000 selling a program that's $12,000. And I wanted to keep it low because I'm assuming Brianna has the ability to create results for someone. And that's a relatively low end coaching program, 12 grand. Okay. A lot of my clients sell things for 80,000, 50,000 or more. Okay. So the reality is that that's very believable. So the question isn't whether or not the market is saturated or how many people are doing it. The question is for Brianna to be thinking about is, who do I need to become to get around the people so that I'm in front of that 31? Who do I need to become so that I have the ability to close at least 30% of the people I come in contact with? So if Brianna had the ability to get in front of 100 people and she knew how to close 30% of them, she would be pretty close to her goals. You guys get this, right? If Brianna knew how to sell and close, and she knew how to create a package, and knew how to price it, knew how to position herself to get the right clients to come in front of her, closing those 31 clients would be super easy. So it actually has nothing to do with competition, how many of the people in the marketplace, because there is plenty of room for you guys. Are you hearing me? Are you guys getting this? If you're getting this, I want you to write, I am getting this. I wanted to break this part down because in order for us to operate in our gifts, we actually need to give up the scarcity thoughts around, believing that someone has all the secrets, someone else has all the solutions, someone else is making all the money. All of those things really feed to the lowest parts of ourselves. The biggest and highest question is, who do I need to learn from that can help me package what I'm doing into a $12,000 product? Who do I need to work with that can show me how I can price what I'm doing to fully value the transformation I bring? Who can I learn from that can show me how to position my background, my gifts, and my talents, right? So that my ideal client, I only need 100, okay, can come directly to me. Who do I need to work with to learn how to sell so that I can close at least 30%? See, that's the shortcut. And so many people focus on the wrong things, and it's the reason they don't ever get to operate in their gifts. They're so busy out there dealing with their lowest parts of themselves, their insecurity, their lack, and believing they're not enough, or believing that someone has all of the clients in the world, right? When the reality is, number one, authenticity is your superpower. And number two, you've got to accept that competition is irrelevant. Okay. All right. And if this has totally been a boom moment for you, write boom. If you're watching the replay, I know, write boom. All right. Just write it, because a lot of times we don't think about it this way. My only goal in doing this live today, how to operate in your gifts, is to shake your shoulders so that you stand tall for yourself. It's really important. Number three. Okay. You've got to own your path to success, and you got to understand that that path is already scripted. Okay. Look, I'm getting ready to break this all the way down. You got to own that there is a path already created for you. So we're talking about owning your gifts, right? So you already have a path. You already have a lane, okay, that works for you. And the key is for you to figure out what that lane is, okay, which allows you to operate in your gifts at the highest and tallest level, instead of trying to be a jack of all trades, doing everything, not knowing what your level of gifts are. Sometimes when people are very, very talented, the challenge they have is being able to figure out what to lead with. And maybe that is you. All right. Because you're like, I could do this, I could do that, I could do this. And you're not really sure what to lead with. And it's one of the things that I support my clients who are giants. They're smart, they're sharp, they're action takers, go-givers, ambitious women who've already created amazing results. And sometimes because things come easily to them, it's very easy for them not to understand, like, that's actually a gift. Not everybody can do this the way that you do this. Not everyone can create results the way that you do it. Okay. Owning that. So owning that path to success, and that know that because you're already gifted and talented, that is the lane to go, and that it's already scripted for you to create success. So I built my business based on leverage. I have not recreated anything. Everything that I do, everything I teach my clients to do is what I've done. I I show them exactly how I pitch. I show them exactly how I've gotten myself on corporate contracts. I've showed them exactly how my husband and I have structured a multi-million-dollar commercial laundry over the years. I show them exactly over the years how I've been able to get signed to Emmy nominated and nationally syndicated television shows. It is not something I read. It is not something that I learned. It's something that I learned on the job, right? Like by doing the work. And you have already done the work. There are things that are a competency to you, the results that you've already created in your workplace, in your life. They're the reason that you're a go-to person. The reason that people come to you all the time is because of your knowledge. And it's time for you to own that path instead of running from it. Because sometimes, you can be afraid of the gift. Let's be clear, okay? Because it's so big and it's so gigantic. Let me break this down. I'll use me, think about you. But the reality is that here it is 20 years ago. I decide I don't want to work in corporate America. I want to go to work as myself. Pretty big dream. I want to figure out how I can build a business working from the comfort of my home. Pretty big dream. I do not want to go in the office. This is 20 years ago. I want to work from my house and service people who I don't know. Okay. I don't know where they're going to come from. That's a pretty bodacious thing. I want to eventually figure out how to transition that business to not only work from my home office, but anywhere I choose around the world. That's a big dream. I want to work with Fortune 100 brands. Hey, you're brand new in business, but it's my dream. It's what I want, right? Bodacious. I want to get signed to Emmy nominated television shows. I want to be a segment host for local media. I'm in national media. I've never done media before, but it's bodacious, right? So I already know that you have these dreams on building an amazing brand and business, and it's inside your heart and your mind. And you're wondering, like, I don't even know the first thing about doing any of these things. I don't have any connections, but you've got a story called results. Okay. You got a story called competency. You got a story called when you walk in the room, people want you to be there because of the kind of change you create. And it's time for you to own that path. If you are with me, I want you to write, I'm with you, okay? I told you this is going to be a tough live tonight because I'm only talking to those of you who are ready to own it, okay? And for those of you who are still hemming and hawing, this is the live to hop off of because the reality is that, look, it's time. And you can do this. When I got started 20 years ago and I wanted to start this business, I had no idea how I was going to do it, but I pitched anyway. Okay. You know what I mean? I picked up the phone anyway. And let's be clear, I did the work. I already had the habit of mine, just like you. I was already disciplined. You know what I mean? I was already successful at work. All I had to do was translate what I was doing there in my own business. Okay. And I worked the plan. I got up early. I stayed up late. I did what I needed to do to renegotiate the way that I work. And I am so excited that I did. And I just want to see more giants show up for themselves. Number 4, you're going to have to lead from the front. Oh my goodness. This is something that, hey, Mary Jo, Mary Jo, I'm so glad you're here. Mary Jo, drop in your podcast also so they can watch you. You lead from the front. So number 4, you're going to have to lead from the front. You're going to have to lead from the front. What do I mean? That means there might not be an example of how to do it, okay, the way that you see in your mind's eye. You know, there might not be someone else out there that can show you how to build an amazing business. I decided that I wanted to be a mom coach. There were no examples of mom coaches at that time. And so I had to create for myself what I thought this should look like based on my skills, my talent, and my background, okay? And you're going to have to take what you know how to do and own that, okay? You're going to have to lead from the front. Now, there's some requirements with leading from the front. So leading from the front sometimes can be a very scary place, okay? I think about this. I think one of the most scariest moments I've ever had at leading from the front. Okay, I have this dream. I want to be on TV, all this. I get signed to the show America Now. Bill Rancic and Lisa Gibbons are the hosts for the show. I am the mom strategist on the show. And my very first segment to shoot, I show up. I'm excited. I think in my mind there's going to be a teleprompter because anytime I ever saw television, I thought that's the way it works. I show up, and there are 3 cameras on set. There are tons of mics. There might be 15 people on set, and we're shooting live, and there's nothing written down. And I realized in this moment when I talked to my producer that they're expecting me to show up great. And in that moment, I had fear, doubts, insecurities, because all the things that came, but I also had something that was my ace, my card, right? Like it was my ace, and that is talent. And you have that. And even if you don't know how you're going to do it, you might not know how you're going to do it, but I'm going to tell you can do it anyway. I remember when I said to my producer, how do we start this? And I just knew she was going to tell me, I got these cue cards. We're going to cue you. And Mia, we've got a teleprompter over here. We're going to slide it over and you just start reading. And I realized there are no notes. And she said, you're going to start and you're just going to open up. And you know what? It worked and it was great. And I did an amazing job and shot tons of segments with these guys. It ended up being an Emmy nominated nationally syndicated show. I got to step inside my dream 100%. And I want you to understand, you get to lead from the front. Leading from the front means that you get to do things you've never done before. You get to be the example in the lane that you're in because you were created for that moment. And the coolest part is that when you lead from the front and you operate in your gifts, you don't need note cards. You don't need to record what you're doing. You don't need to read what you're doing because you are just being an extension of your brilliance. Okay. You're just operating in the gifts. You're just allowing flow to operate inside you. And I hope that as a result of what I'm saying to you, that you guys hear me heart to heart. The reality is that if you lead from the front, that's why you are here, to do the thing that everybody's waiting on you to create. All right. So stop waiting for somebody else to do it first or tell you how to do it because you were created for that moment. And I realized that, like literally, people are waiting on you to be brilliant and amazing and fearless. Are you ready to operate in your gifts? Number 5. Okay. You're going to have to walk through unknown doors. Okay. And we're talking today about operating in your gifts. And when you are operating in your gifts and your giftedness, you're going to have to walk through doors that are unknown to you. I'm telling you, this is fact. All right. I have walked through doors that I had never been through before. And I did not know any person. There's no person in my life that walked through those doors that could tell me what was going to happen on the other side. I'll give you a couple examples. I walked through the Deutsche Media Group doors, a $1 billion ad agency. I pitched to their team. No, I didn't know anyone that walked through those doors. And I had to work on myself, my inner game. I actually hired for myself Michael McGuire. Just an amazing marketing coach, and he helped me with my pitch, and I practiced with him over and over again. But the reality is I had to walk through those doors. Okay. You're going to have to walk through doors you've never gone through before. I remember picking up the phone. This is one of the wildest stories ever. But I picked up the phone and I pitched myself to Mark Burnett Studios. And you guys know Mark Burnett created Survivor, right? So I pitched myself over there. I called to pitch. I actually called to inquire. And when I called, I was passed to the executive vice president, okay, of the company. And he answers the phone. His name was Dan. And he says to me, it was a Monday, why don't you come in on Wednesday? He had no idea I was living in Baltimore at the time. He's in LA, in Burbank. Well, no, not in Burbank, in Santa Monica. And he said, why don't you come on Wednesday? I'd love to meet you. And so I pack up, I leave the next day and I go and I pitch myself to the Mark Burnett Group. You're going to walk through the doors of the unknown and you're going to be better because of it. And you don't have to worry about not having been there before because all of your gifts or your talents that God has given you are going to go right with you. And they're going to kick in. It's going to be your afterburner. I've seen it over and over again in my own life, right? Like, we talk about the peace that passes all understanding and it guides your heart and mind. It's called talent, divine giftedness is what God gives you. Okay. Okay. That you get to, when you walk through those doors of the unknown, you're not going alone. You're going with that 10 years, 20 years of experience. You're going with the fact that you got up in the morning early and you worked that dream till late at night. You're going through with all of those years of experience, studying, staying up late, being the best at what you do. You're coming with everything that you bring. So you never have to worry about walking through the doors of the unknown, but it is necessary if we're talking about operating in your giftedness. If you're going through the doors that you've already been through before, they're not big enough. Okay, I'm going to repeat that. If you are going through doors that you have already been through over and over again, it's not big enough for you. And it's the reason why you haven't stepped gigantically into your next level. Is the reason why I host the Giant Experience Master Training, because I help women get right in their minds about their talents and their gifts. And hey, Amanda, and their possibility, because so many of us have the ability to create amazing and super results in our life, but we keep walking through the same doors with the same request. And what you actually need is someone that can see you as you can be and not as who you are, that's willing to call that giant out that's inside of you so that you can change your life. And I hope that what I'm saying to you hits you right in the center of your chest, because that's the purpose of this message. Number 6. Okay. We're operating in our gifts, right? And when you operate in your gifts, number 6 is you need to expect divine favor. Okay. So like, I'm just going to break this down. Okay. And you need to expect divine favor. So a lot of times you are amazing at what you know how to do. Okay. And you are expecting what everybody else gets. But because of all the sacrifices you've made, because you are a master implementer, because you are incredible at what you do, because your workplace needs you, because you create and affect change in the lives of others, you need to expect divine favor. The reality is that the path to success for you will not be the same as it is for everyone else. And there will be people in your life who will wonder why, they might even wonder, how is it that it's so easy for you and it's so hard for them? It is because of the sacrifices. It's because of the work. It's because of your belief. It's because of your faith. It's because of your execution. It's because you don't quit. Okay. It's because you invest in yourself. It's because you believe in yourself. And I just want you to understand that, sometimes when we are gifted and talented and everything you touch, it just seems like you have the Midas touch and great things happen to others, but they don't know your sacrifices. They don't know your work, and they don't need to. And that's why it's so important to make sure you're playing with other people, your own ambition level and above. And I'll tell you why. If you don't play with people your own ambition level and above, there will be people who will covet your success. They will be jealous of who you are. Now, when they're with you, they will act like they love you, but they will hate you because of what you represent, because you make it look easy. See, they've never seen the work, that you put in. They don't understand, the fact that you practice way more than that. They don't understand what it took for you to be who you are. And they don't need to understand that. Okay. But you need to expect that divine favor is because of all the work. Faith without work is dead. It's really important. And I know that people who create great and amazing results, they do so because they think differently, because they play differently, because they work differently, because they operate differently. And so do not expect the same things to happen for you that you see happening for everybody else. You will skip some stages. You will skip some steps. You'll see exceedingly and abundantly. You will achieve things beyond anything you ever asked or thought of. And it is because of divine favor, because you really have been faithful. You went to school, you found the money, you sacrificed in a way that others were not willing to. And so they just can't have what you have. Okay. And it's not that you're taking anything away from them. They just haven't done the work. Okay. And I'm breaking this down because I used to try to figure out how is it that if I walked in, if I was on a board, I was in a meeting or whatever it is, how is it that I always end up in the midst of something like at the top of the class? Is because I'm actually going to do it. I'm actually going to do it. I'm not a taker. I'm a giver. I'm going to give 100% to you because I'm going to give 100% to me. And you got to understand this. And I know you're this way too, that the reason that you're going to have divine favor is because your giving is always going to be blessed with an overflow. So when you are giving and investing in yourself, and then you take those skills and you give it away at your workplace, it's the reason why there's going to be an overflow. It's the reason why you're going to show up differently. It's the reason why people are going to see that you're very attractive. They're going to be wanting to work with you because there's something about you, right, that they just don't see all the time. I'm breaking this down. And I wanted to do this live specifically because I work with so many women who are gifted and talented, who take a stand for themselves, and they're gigantic. And a lot of times you live in a world that, of people who resent people who are exceptionally talented. And it's just true. And that's not your challenge. But I want you to understand how to navigate through that. I want you to have community with people who are like you, to understand that you need to be around people giants, your own ambition level and above, so you can be all of who you are. Number seven is never apologize for being that good. Okay, listen, I said it. Okay, number 7, we're talking about operating in your giftedness. And one of the things that I have seen happen over the years is that you are good, you're amazing, you're incredible, and you walk in a place and you always know the answer, and you don't know why you know it. Okay, because you've just been doing you so long, you have built the habit of showing up and being dedicated and being committed and really caring. And because of it, you do know the answer, but never apologize for being that good. And I want to talk to you a little bit about that, what that can look like. There is sometimes with success that when you create amazing success, there are people who want to mute your story. Yeah. Okay. They'll say things to you like, it's not time to talk about that, or you're being arrogant, or you're not acknowledging, the people that came before you. You've done all of those things. You've done all of those things. But what you haven't done is acknowledge that it's okay for you to be that dang good. Yeah. Okay. And the thing is, when people are not really great as you, they want you to mute your story. They don't want you to talk about it, because when you talk about it, they feel a certain kind of way. And I want you to understand this. That is not your responsibility. Okay. What someone else thinks of you, it's none of your business. It has nothing to do with you. You have to understand that your job is never apologize for being that good, because the people you are meant to serve really need to know the truth. And I always say, look, it's so important to tell the truth. I tell my clients, tell the truth. Tell the truth. Tell the truth about yourself. Become comfortable with your giftedness. Okay. The reason that I want to work with you, the reason that I would want to buy something from you is because you told me the truth. And if you become uncomfortable because of the people in your life who have said to you, no, that's too much. You're too extra. You kind of braggadocious. Listen, don't go showing all of that. People don't need to see that. That's because those people are uncomfortable with you being all of who you are. And I learned that a long time ago. I'm going to be hey, Lisa, I'm going to be 100% of who I am. I've worked 20 plus years, okay, to manifest the things that I've created. And there's no one or anyone or any reason that I'm going to ever mute my story. And I don't want you to do that either. I want you to own your gifts, okay? I want you to understand that telling the truth is not being braggadocious. I want you to honor the fact that the results that you've created, they're real and they're true, and you can show those because you have done that, okay? And you don't have to answer to any single person or operate with a person who cannot see you being as you are, okay? Because they want you to be where they are, all right? You understand that, right? If you're talking to people who are congruent, and they're doing what you're doing, your ambition level and above, giants love the company of other giants. There's no need for a giant to ever meet the story of another giant. You're not going to hear a giant ever condemn, or complain about someone else who was amazing, because they're inspired, because they can see the likeness. Whatever this person's done, I can do. I love the fact that I have an appetite for giants. My clients call themselves giants. I love being around giants, women who love really supporting one another. And it's a requirement in my community that, when people are sharing, like you share, everybody grows because of it. And if you don't want to, in my community, if you want to come in my community and you want to create results based on what I'm teaching you, you don't want to tell anybody, you don't belong in my community. Okay, because I want people to become comfortable with giving away giganticness about being 100% of who they are. We don't have enough of it in the world. We have so many people in the world that want you to shrink your story. They want to change the narrative or control your narrative when you are great and amazing, what you know how to do. Nobody gets to do that. And you have to understand that never apologize for being that good. Just because the reason that somebody's going to want to work with you, the reason that somebody's going to want to promote you, the reason that you're going to get that opportunity, that partnership, that deal, that speaking gig at the highest level is because you own that. Okay. And if you decide to listen from the outside in to those people who can't handle your story because they didn't do the work that you did, because likely they're copying and cheating and whatever. They're not getting up early. They're not staying up late. And they don't want you to be all of who you are. That's their deal. I want you to understand, you don't have to apologize for being good. You don't have to apologize for being amazing. You have to own it and operate in your gifts. That's what I have for you today. I told you it was going to be a tough live. My only goal is to support those of you who are following. And I come here every Monday at 8:00 p.m. Eastern Standard Time with the intention to support and elevate my community. I love the opportunity that the end of this month, we'll have the opportunity to support more of you who have said yes to the Giant Experience, which is our 2-day live where I help you get clear on how to take your gifts and your talents and package it into a high ticket offering, and really how to show up gigantic for yourself. So all my clients sell things that are high ticket. So if you want to sell things under $2,500, I'm not your coach. Most of my clients on average go from selling things for $50, $100 to thousands of dollars per client. And I love that they can do that, because in order for them to do, they have to own their giftedness. They have to operate in their gifts. And I'm not interested in having a tiny conversation with a gigantic mind and talent and a person who've invested, so much in themselves over the years. Sometimes you need people to shake your shoulders and say, show me the light. Okay. Own the light. Okay. Let's talk about that. I don't want to talk about anything other than that. And I think it's so important to have a place for you like that. If I can support you in any way, then, feel free to reach out. I'll post miaredrick.com here. And if you haven't seen my webinar, it's a great first step. If you have seen my webinar, it's free. Then take the step. Sign up for the Giant Experience. I promise you, it'll change your life. It's changed the lives of hundreds of women just like you who want to package their knowledge into a high ticket product on and offline. Okay, so I want to know your ahas or your takeaways. And if you haven't shared this live with another and you think a friend would enjoy it, do it now. Okay, don't keep the goodness to yourself. Share it with someone so they can see the replay. Do it now. Okay, I'm going to review a couple of your comments, and I would love to hear your biggest aha or takeaway. I'll recap quickly. Number one, I talked about how to operate in your giftedness tonight, right? And I told you already, I already disclaimed that if your feelings get hurt, this is not the live for you, because this is not a conversation where I want to sugarcoat around being amazing. Okay, you're amazing. Okay, it's time to own it. Number one, you got to understand that your superpower, your superpower is authenticity. That means you being you, 100% you. Okay, like you being you. That's enough. All right. And if you decide to be a version of someone else, that's the smallest version of you. Okay. Number two, accept that competition is irrelevant, because it is. All right. How many people do you need to create success? The reality is that we looked at Brianna. Brianna wanted to hit $375,000 as a coach with her training and her books, I've already showed you that if she just sells something for 12 grand, she only needs 31 clients. I mean, if she talks to 100 people this year, that's the right audience, okay, and closes 30% of them, that's done. So the question is not around Brianna's ability to earn $375,000. The question is, and I'm saying Brianna, but think about you, are you willing to invest in learning how to package what you know into a high ticket product? How to price what you're doing at the highest level, how to position your marketing so that you become the obvious choice. Are you willing to learn how to close and sell so you get to that 30%? Because that's the only question. See, if you know what someone knows, you can do what they do. Number 3 is own that your path to success is already scripted, because it is. All right. So this idea that you don't know if it's going to work and all this stuff, that's not real. You got to own it. You're already very talented. Look at what happens when you show up in the workplace. You change things. Look at when you have the meetings you go to, the boards you're on. They need you. There's a reason for that. All right. And now is the perfect time to figure that out. Number 4, lead from the front. You are meant to do it. You're the example. That's the reason why you don't see it already, is because you're meant to create it. Number 5, walk through unknown doors. You're going to have to do that. Yeah. To be gigantic in your life, you're going to have to do that. Number 6, expect divine favor. It's not going to look like it does for everyone else, and that's okay. And number 7, never apologize for being that good. You don't have to. All right. Anybody that needs you to apologize for being that good is insecure about you being amazing. All right. So I'm going to highlight a couple of comments here. We had Brianna was 375. Thank you, Brianna. And then there was a Facebook user said 300, and Erica said 100. Brianna said coaching and training. I would love to support you. Check out the Giant Experience Master Training. And she says, I am getting this. And LaTanya says, boom. I like it. Okay. And I'm with you. I'm with you. Awesome. I would love to hear your ahas and takeaways. Start writing them. Robyn says, I'm with you. Mary Jo says, I am with you. And here is Mary Jo's podcast on merging life and money. And she goes live on Thursday. So make sure you guys check her out or check out the replay. And Amanda says, me is the best. She changed my life forever. You changed your life. See, your divine favor is because of the work that you've already done. In a relatively short period of time, you went from selling something for $1,000 to selling things for $7,000 per sale per transaction. Imagine that. Okay. Because you did all the things we just talked about today. Yes. Favor ain't fair. Robyn says, Robyn, I love your braids. Okay. You better preach. I was trying. Okay. And Amanda says, absolutely. And Audrey says, thank you. It's so true. And I love your work. You keep inspiring me to keep moving. Come on, Audrey. I like it. Okay, Tanya says, so very good. I'm so glad you got value. Amanda says, yes, yes, yes. And boom, I think that's how you said it. Lisa said, that's right, Mia. I appreciate it. And that's right. I appreciate it. And Amanda says she's a proud giant, and Robyn's a giant. And again, you can always go to miaredrick.com and sign up for my webinar. If you haven't seen it, it's free. It's a great first step. If you have seen it, sign up for the Giant Experience Master Training. I'll take amazing care of you and support you with packaging your knowledge. Brianna says her biggest takeaway is boldly showcasing my talents and own what I know and what I can do. It won't take that much to hit my goals, right? Like, come on. All right, I'm ready for it. And LaTanya says her biggest aha is that competition is irrelevant and that leading from the front is what she wants to do. And that's because you are meant to broker that idea. It's so important. And I'm so glad that you thought that. And Marie says, great session. MJ says, great session as always. I appreciate you. Are there any other ahas or takeaways? Any other ahas or takeaways? Any questions that I can answer for you before I sign off? I just want to say thank you. I appreciate you for being amazing. And I just, whatever you need to do this year, right, to dust her off, to uncover, whatever you need to uncover to show up 100% gigantic for yourself, do it. All right. I'd love to see you inside of the Giant Experience Master training. It is the best first step if you want to understand how to monetize what you're doing, but you have to be ready. Okay. You got to be ready. All right. I want to thank you for being amazing. The dates for the Giant Experience are April 30th and May 1st. Thank you, Robyn. April 30th and May 1st is the next date for the Giant Experience. And when you sign up, you get 45-day access to the training to watch from the comfort of your home. The live event, it's virtual. So you can watch it from the comfort of your home, watch, rewind, replay, and relax, right, from the comfort of your home. And I can tell you, it's an incredible master training. You don't have to take it from me. Look at the testimonials. We have countless numbers of them on the page. If you simply go to miallredrick.com and click on the Giant Experience Master Training, you'll be able to see for yourself the kind of results that my clients create. And I can't guarantee that those will be your results because I haven't met you. I don't know how you implement. But I can tell you, if you're willing to do the work, I'm there for you. I'll answer your questions and I'll show up 100% for you. A lot of my clients create exceptional results very quickly. And I'm, just very excited about that. All right. I want to thank you. All right. Are you doing in-person training too, Mia? I haven't decided yet. Lisa. So I've been in business 20 years and I've hosted events for about 16 years and up until COVID. So COVID was the first year, 2020, that I didn't host an event last year. It's highly probable that in November of this year, the second week of November, right, that I will host an event. So it's highly probable that I will. And I am thinking about it. But currently I host events all the time online. And I can't say all the time, but my events have been online and my clients have created amazing results. And the best part is you don't have to get a hotel, right? You don't have to get you don't have to get a ticket for a plane airfare. You can learn from the comfort of your home, do the work, and it's just as impactful. But likely I will do a live event as well. I've also been toying with the idea that if I do a live event this year, one of the things I'm thinking of, I may only offer it to people who have come through the Giant Experience, because then I know that we're all speaking the same language. Okay. And then I'm able to really support my clients and create amazing results. I mean, the last time I hosted the Giant Experience, it was an intimate group, and within like 2 weeks, they closed about $250,000, and it just went up from there. Just really, really exciting. Amanda says, yes, Mia, it's time for in-person so I can hug you. I know our live events are legendary. They're incredible. And the women are incredible. I want to meet you live. Okay. All right. I hear you guys. You guys have spoken. All right. But it's highly probable. So just mark that second weekend of November on your calendar. I am definitely thinking about it. And I think if we do decide, you'll know by June that we're going to host an event in November, that second weekend in November. Okay. So check it out. All right. So I want to thank you for your time. I appreciate you guys. You could have been anywhere, but you decided to be here tonight. And I did not want to waste your time. Again, make sure you share this live with someone you care about. All right. And I'll talk to you soon. I'll see you next Monday, 8:00 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.